Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Dojo Live. I am Tulio Siragusa. It is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. We have another wonderful guest today that we're going to be talking with. Reggie Yativ, who's the Chief Revenue Officer and Chief Operating Officer at Agora.io. Hi, Reggie. Welcome to the show. We're looking forward to speaking with you.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here.
Great. I'm also joined by my co-host, Carlos Ponce. Hey, Carlos, welcome back.
Thank you, Tulio. Appreciate it.
All right. So let's get right into it. Before we do, we're going to be talking about real-time engagement today in the healthcare space. But before we go into that, let's get to know you a little bit, Reggie. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you already mentioned, I'm the CRO COO at Agora Lab Inc. I'm basically overseeing the global expansion of Agora's team, but most of all, what's important for me, I feel particularly blessed being part of Agora that is genuinely transforming the way people connect. It is the most important element of, I think, of what we do. We're helping people connect to each other. We're helping people engage in a unique way, and we can talk about that in a minute a little more. Well, I personally come from the software business, been in the software business for many years, actually over 15 years, actually a little more. And Agora is actually, if you look at Agora and what we do, is predominantly about using or leveraging very sophisticated software algorithms to power that engagement. And we can talk about that in a minute.
Great. So thanks for introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about Agora. What gave birth to this idea? What was the thing that the founders were trying to solve and are solving in the marketplace? Tell us a little bit about the company.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story. So Tony Zhao, our CEO and founder, is in that space for over 30 years. He's actually firsthand being a very big technologist in that space, and starting as a developer, experienced a lot of the complexity that's involved in driving real-time video globally. And of course, we can talk about that for hours. I mean, there's many moving parts that involve video and voice and the network and the software elements, and all of that became very heavy for developers. Back in the day, Tony was one of the founding team members of engineers in WebEx, and then continued to be the CTO of YY, that then went public at some point. And out of all those experiences, he realized that there's got to be something there has to be something done for developers to be able to deploy those technologies. First of all, develop them, but also to deploy them globally without fear, at any scale they want, and fit them into any contextual use case they want. So that's historically, the company founded in 2014, and then kept evolving and growing and becoming pretty much, the power behind a lot of the apps, a lot of you and the listeners are using every day. Today we are public. We actually went public in June this year, no surprisingly, with the ticker API as our ticker in NASDAQ. And we continue to expand, and deliver that message. I think what makes Agora unique, and this is, I think, the heart of what we're here to talk about today, is that we are actually powering all of those use cases that require real-time engagement. So it's a lot more than just having a conference call. It's about powering contextually all those use cases, whether it's in gaming, whether it's in healthcare, as you mentioned, whether it's education or social. All of those use cases today require, well, today more than ever with everything that's going on with the pandemic, but even way before, all of those use cases really require a different level of engagement over video. It requires the ability to have an agile enough technology to be able to be embedded in your use case. So if you're a developer, what Agora will provide you is an SDK. It's a software development kit that will power that engagement. We have a voice SDK, video SDK, recording SDK, a lot of other tools that you would embed, and it's all free, that you would embed in your app, and tomorrow you can be ready to go live. The process of embedding, by the way, is very simple, very straightforward, and we deliver a lot of documentation and very good stuff for developers to actually do it quite easily. Once you're ready and the experience is now embedded in your app, you're ready to go live, and then Agora provides that what we refer to as software-defined real-time network, which is a network over.
Hang on, Reggie.
Yeah.
We want to have a conversation here. We're going to have time for all that. So let's introduce the topic, because I want to make sure we stay on point with what we want to talk about today and tie it into what you guys are doing, because I think it's super powerful and you have a compelling story. But let's introduce the topic and bring the conversation back to what we want to talk about today. Carlos, what's the topic for today? And let's kick this off so we can dig in. I know Reggie's excited to share all the details. Let's go right into it.
Absolutely, Tulio. Thank you so much. And thank you, Reggie, for being here with us today. Tulio, the topic that our guest chose for today was real-time engagement connects us across borders. That's like the title for the topic, for the conversation. And we're going to be talking about how from healthcare to the workplace to education and beyond, real-time engagement technology is powering the creation of global communities by breaking down geographical barriers. So that's the topic, Tulio. So, Reggie, first question for you is, very predictably, is why did you choose this particular topic? Why did you think it was relevant for this day and age? Let's start with that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped to the details too soon earlier. So, I think I can actually continue where I left off with that answer. At the end of the day, a lot of those use cases, as I mentioned, that are contextual, they actually present a challenge. You would need to integrate technology pretty quickly, and you also need a robust global network at scale to carry that video everywhere. And I think that what we do at Agora, if you kind of summarize that, real-time engagement, this is actually all of those experiences that we are creating that help people connect cross borders. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in Bangalore or in New York or in Santa Clara, California, you should be enjoying the same level of experience, the same quality of service when you are engaged with any app out there that is using video or voice. And I think that's the key message here, is that by leveraging those live interactive video tools and voice tools, by leveraging a network that is strong enough, and by making sure that you can put all of those tools contextually, you're actually facilitating across the border connection between people. And that has a lot of impact, whether it's business or social, etc. We can talk about use cases later.
So let's break that down a little bit, in simpler terms, right? Let's assume some of the audience are not tech savvy, but are interested in understanding how this works. So can you walk us through a typical client? How do they leverage your technology? How does it go into their ecosystem? What does their ecosystem look like? Can you break that down for us? It'd be great to understand how it all comes together.
Yeah, let me choose education first, because I think we can go a little easier with that. New Oriental, which is one of our larger customers, have actually taken real-time engagement tools, and those are all the tools I described earlier, all those SDKs, package them into their offering, and basically able to offer millions of students, no matter where they are, in what environment they are, in sort of a, as we call it, a ubiquitous way. So whether they're using a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet or anything else, they were able to take those tools, embed them in their app, and enable a real-time classroom experience. And it may sound sometimes very simplistic, but but the use cases in the classroom could be quite complex. So you have, for example, one teacher talking to many students, or you will have a need for a more intimate setting of a classroom, let's say a teacher and 20 students. Or during the classroom session with 20 students, you need to talk to 2 students separately. So you can break out into a separate video room, talk to those 2 students, and then come back to the other forum. The experience here is basically have multifacets, multi-dimensions, and this actually creates real-time engagement. It's not just a teacher looking at students or students just listening to a teacher. It's the interactivity, is the live interactive aspect of it that creates the educational experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, okay. So I get to have the ability to do something in a broader scale, but also one-to-one, basically. And how does the technology facilitate that? Is there some kind of intelligence built in to identify those who need more of that interaction, more of an intimate setting? Or does it make recommendations based on people's input or participation? How does it help the client, fulfill this dream, this desire to, have interactive sessions that break down these barriers?
Yeah, I'm glad you used the word dream. I use that a lot. I think we work with developers many times, and we think about it. I mean, the developers are the key audience for us to actually enable those dreams. I think it starts truly from the process of ideation together with our customers. So they actually explain to us what they want to achieve. Then we identify the set of tools that are suitable for that use case. For example, if you have large audience, really, I'm talking millions. It could be millions, or it could be thousands, or it could be a more intimate. But let's say a large audience, you need to make sure that if you want to create engagement between the audience and the host and the content itself, a latency level needs to be low enough on the network, and that's what Agora does, or empower. So together with the developers, we design together the experience. It's then embedded into this app, right? The app that the developer creates, and then go live. And then from that moment on, we work together with the developer, make sure we have a seamless experience. So it is not a one recipe, just install and forget. Is every experience need to be designed to the purpose of the use case and to objective of the use case. Sometimes you could use simpler tools. Sometimes you really need to go a little more complex in order to enable, like, for example, trivia game, or a game like in-game interaction between the players is implemented a little different than you would implement, for example, a healthcare use case, where you have a practitioner talking to one patient, or multiple practitioners talking to one patient. So the mechanics is different, but we provide all those building blocks and work together with developers to make it happen. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, so I'm curious. One of your taglines as a company is to enable meaningful human connections. All right, it's not just about having a connection. So, can you give us a little bit what the intention behind that, and how are you accomplishing that?
Yeah, this is an interesting point. By people having sitting in front of each other, and we're doing that often, lately, sitting at each other, looking at each other through a screen, or maybe just watching something passively without the ability to connect with this content, makes that a certain level of connection. What we mean by meaningful is that if I go back to, for example, social streaming, or where you have a watch party, for example, Scener, which is doing those wonderful watch parties based on well-known content, of many of the big providers out there. They transformed just sitting and watching into a watch party where you can actually interact with each other. You can share the experience. You can laugh together. You can cry together. You can get angry together. You can feel the content. You are now connected with the content. The emotional engagement with the content is what we're looking for. Those are going to be the most ideal use cases that can leverage the most our technology, versus just sitting and looking at the screen like we used to in a passive way. which many people, especially this generation and the coming generations, will find that to be a little less meaningful.
So let's see if I've captured this right, and this sounds incredibly compelling. I've always believed when social media began that the ultimate nirvana, if you will, of social media would be that I wouldn't have to go to a network to connect with people. I could be on a basic website and interact with a community virtually right away about a product, or I have a question, or literally have access at my point and click, whether I'm on an app or on a web browser, to a community that's there right now that might be able to contribute to my buying decision in the case of an e-commerce situation. Is this ultimately where you're meeting the consumers or the users where they are, instead of asking them to interact via established platforms? In other words, any web application or browser can turn into a social tool for interaction for any company at any given moment. Is that, am I capturing this right? Is that the vision of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, it's a big part of it. It's basically transforming. I think you hit the thing there, right on the spot. Is transforming every experience that otherwise would be trivial into something that has a lot of interaction in it, something that has a social meaning to it, something that removes boundaries, that is inclusive, that is allowing people, no matter where they are or what device they have, whether it's a superior device or not such superior device, to join in, to jump into the experience. I think your example earlier with e-commerce is wonderful, because the traditional e-commerce is you and I going on kind of websites and zapping through photos, selecting price and buying stuff. That is not enough anymore. The audience wants to get explanations. They want to engage with a host that talk to them about the product, that actually visualize the product for them. They want to respond back to the host and ask him or her questions. So they want to be part of the experience, not just watching it, go by. And that's the whole point. I think your example with e-commerce is good, because that's one of those more, I would say, B2B use cases that we have, among other enterprise use cases, where the enterprise space is transforming too. So there's just not just the social and leisure markets, it's also the enterprise and the business side that is aware of it.
Well, that sounds exciting. So let's talk about your current markets and your aspirational markets. Which vertical industries are adopting this today, and which should be adopting it that perhaps haven't thought through it? What are some of the use cases that you guys have had success with right now, and some use cases that you'd like to have some success with that perhaps they just haven't seen the vision? Where is it going? What can you share with us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Agora started from the social space. The social use cases, for example, we most of the dating space, like the Meet Group and other meeting giants are using our technology. So we started from that, evolved into the gaming space, which has been very successful for us as well. In-game video usage is increasing dramatically, and voice as well. And the whole, as you mentioned, the whole social aspect of gaming became really strong. Moving to education, that is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Healthcare, that you mentioned in the beginning. And I think, if I look at where we focus right now, those are the key areas where we see a lot of our business coming from. Aspirationally, or what we're working on, is continue to nurture those. For example, the pandemic pushed forward very much virtual events, and we have a lot of new virtual event use cases, and that in also different levels. Some virtual events are quite simplistic, and some of them are using AR and VR technologies and stuff that's a little more compelling, more complex. We're seeing in the future a lot of those very sophisticated combined use cases where, social and gaming and entertainment and watch parties are combined together into this holistic experience. The watch party segment in the market is growing very much right now. So I think we have a lot of work ahead of us. I think we are in the beginning of a huge journey that transforms all of those wonderful offline use cases into online, equally wonderful use cases.
Excellent.
Tulio, I have a question about specifically about Agora. So I'm curious about what would you say, Reggie, that would make, for example, engineers or people reach out to you, just basically want to go to work for you? What makes your company unique and special that might be a good place where people might want to go work for? Can you elaborate on the company culture and these aspects of Agora, please?
Well, Carlos, that's an excellent question. I think we all, so first of all, I started earlier with the vision and with the dream. We are all very, very connected to real-time engagement, the vision, and what is it that we are actually helping people, well, developers, but eventually, essentially people to achieve, right? So I think culturally, the team in Agora is very connected to this. And I think if you start working for Agora, you'll find it very compelling. People really love the fact that we are actually working every day to fulfill that vision that we have, and the market is responding really nicely to this. That's one. Second, the creativity. As I mentioned earlier, Agora is not about shipping 50,000 boxes that look the same and feel the same. Every use case brings forward the creativity of the developers, their ideation, their ability to invent new stuff. So as you and I and Tulio was speaking here, there's probably like 5 new use cases that we didn't even think about to use real interactive video for. Like, we don't even know some of them, and they are actually coming to us. So I think engineers here, with their genuine curiosity and the natural curiosity, they have a lot of fun working with their peer developers to develop those experiences. And I think that the final thing is that we are cultivating an open, transparent, straightforward, dynamic culture. You know, internally we debate everything. We like to ask ourselves a lot of hard questions, or we have a lot of fun working too. So I think if you look at the work culture and the way we're trying to preserve that culture going forward, that's kind of like the key things in my mind.
Sounds like a great place. Sounds like a great place to be. Anytime you can be creative and create something that represents your own vision, that ties into some use cases someone else hasn't thought of, that's a great place. I have a use case for you guys. I would love the ability for, in these live video streams, where audience could watch and pop in and ask a question and like literally chime in on a video without having to send the same link that we sent to the guest. You know, maybe someone's listening, they can reach out to you guys and say, hey, you know, that's a good feature to have. We should have these guys build it for us. So Yardstream, if you're listening, reach out to Agora, because they might have a solution for that. So we're coming up on time and we're wrapping up. So Reggie, in your journey through with the company, you know, you just went public in June. What a crazy time to do that right now, right? But congratulations in achieving that milestone. You know, obviously things change from when you're a privately held company growing, hustling to build a business, proving yourself in the marketplace, to then having to serve the expectations of Wall Street and you know, the financial markets. In your experience, is the company going through some of that now, and how are people adapting? What's working to get people continue to stay excited, to continue to have that creativity while also meeting those quarterly objectives that now you guys face? What's working for you guys?
Well, quite honestly, we were busy fulfilling our dreams and objectives and quarterly targets even before that milestone in June. Honestly, we're really looking at the IPO that ended up at the end of June as a milestone. And sometimes when I talk to the team, we really look at this as the beginning. We believe that this is the beginning of a much larger transformation in the market, of uncovering a much bigger opportunity that will gradually, step by step, with our customers and partners, uncovering. I think, I can't, I would lie if I say that we're not changing also, but just by power of growing and adding more people and more business and expanding internationally. Of course, we are changing. But as I mentioned, I think one of the pieces that makes us, will continue to make us powerful, is the fact that we really believe in what we do. We see that what we do really impacts people, really help people to achieve a lot of what they wanted to achieve, whether it's education or healthcare or social, or just finding someone to watch a movie with, or very simple dreams or very simple things. We really feel like this will continue to power the fire Agora and the whole team has for this vision, and this is what's driving us, and that is not going to change, IPO or not.
Well, congratulations. That's good words of advice. Either you're very customer-centric focus, or focus on solving problems or changing the world. That's one unifying factor for organizations. So thanks for sharing that with us. We wish you continued success. Hopefully those who are listening will take advantage of this platform. It sounds like a fantastic way to build community, even if you're a B2B company. So thanks for joining us today. And Carlos, what do we got coming up tomorrow and Thursday? We got 2 more shows.
Yeah, we got 2 more shows, Tulio. Tomorrow we'll be we're going to be having a conversation with Anita Kumari, the founder and chief strategist of Happiness Factors, which is a platform that focuses on digital health solutions for the current day and age. So that's going to be tomorrow, and the topic will be: how do emotional intelligence, mental health, and wellness impact leadership effectiveness and productivity? So that's tomorrow, Tulio. And then on Thursday, we'll be speaking with Enrico Palmerino, the CEO and founder of BotKeeper, which is an automated accounting platform using human-assisted machine learning and AI, with the topic: how accountants are supporting 65% more clients with AI, or the accounting alphabet. A is for artificial intelligence. So those are the 2 remaining conversations of the week, Tulio. So I encourage our guests and viewers to join us tomorrow at the same time right here on Dojo Live, 1 p.m. Pacific.
See you soon.